That's what they called him downriver in the Rio Grande Valley. We had been tracking him since dawn, tracks as big as a grizzly's. But only now, up close, did I realize how much his name really fitted him. The Brute.
He don't mean for us to take him without killing him.
Just the way an animal figures.
Yeah, I understand he broke Zach Waller's spine like it was a dry twig. I sure don't mean to get close enough to him for him to pile me up.
Marshal, try talking to him once more.
All right. Listen good, Bruto! You might be mute, but you ain't deaf. Now I'm taking you in one way or the other. Nice and peaceful, or good and dead. He made his choice.
Don't kill him, Marshal.
What else can I do?
He's over there to the right. Keep your gun on him. See if you can hold his attention.
Well, what are you going to do?
Did you ever capture wild horses? The idea is to crease their skull, bring them down good as new. Anyway, that's the idea. I never had much luck at it myself.
Use this?
No, I'm more used to this one.
Complain about your luck today, Vance. You ought to stick to wild humans.
Maybe it wasn't luck. Maybe it had something to do with it being Christmas Eve.
Like what?
Well, I'd kind of hate to be a party to a killing on a day like today. That's what I was thinking when I squeezed off the trigger.
Yeah?
Well, maybe you wouldn't call it thinking. More like praying. So he strung him up like a prize bull and took him along. Stop a minute, Marshal. Here, hold this.
We're never going to reach San Felipe tonight.
I was thinking about that.
Well, I'm sorry I dragged you away from your ranch, Van. Spoiled your Christmas with the boys.
That's all right, Marshal. There's one thing sadder than our overgrown friend here. It's a bunch of cowboy strays on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, Mrs. had me all fixed up to play Santa Claus for the kids tonight.
What are we going to do? Any place we can lay over? I don't relish camping out with him.
Over there near Ocati Creek, there's a mission orphanage run by the Franciscans. Padre Basilico is a fine man. What did I say to set him off?
I don't know. Let's go.
Tonight is the last night of the Posada. Truly a night for miracles. First, the heart of the cruel innkeeper shall melt like snow before the fire. You are the Blessed Mother Mary, and you are Saint Joseph. Tonight you will find refuge and shelter. Then, miracle of miracles, a child shall be born. The infant Savior who will bring light and hope to a dark world. And so, my niños, that is why tonight must be full of happiness and joy. Continue with the Posada, Brother Terence.
Now, then, Jesus, you'll be remembering what you have to do.
Si, Padre.
Irena?
Si.
And I'll be taking me leave to the barn. Oh, wretched me. Oh, blessed Saint Brigid and Saint Patrick, look down upon a poor Irishman in a strange land with strange ways, and be remembering I'm only playing a part. The foul, heartless innkeeper.
He could not do it. I do not believe he could do such a thing.
I'm sorry, Padre. All I know is what I heard from Sheriff Dutcher.
But
he was working for two brothers named Waller on a farm near Socorro. He killed one of them with his bare hands.
Why do you say he couldn't have done such a thing, Padre?
he was one of our boys here years ago.
Oh. That explains why he got so excited when you mentioned the Padre's name.
John, look at me. You remember me, Padre Basilico? You reject even me. Oh, what has this world done to you? He was such a gentle boy.
Sir, I beg of you, with all your charity, to give shelter to this lady.
My house awaits only him who has money, and heaven help him who has none.
I am the Queen of Heaven.
Sure, that's what I've been waiting to hear, me darlings. Come in, welcome everybody. Merry Christmas. Feliz Navidad. There's plenty of room in the inn. Come on in now. Come in, darlings. Come in, little one. There you go. Come on in. There's the goodbyes. Come in, sister. Welcome,
All right, Padre, we've got to bed this big fella down for the night. You got a place that'll hold him?
See, this part of the barn was once used by the Army of Mexico as a prison.
All right, Bruto. John, get going.
Inside, Bruto.
Inside.
Juan. Por favor.
Now then, me beautiful Queen of Heaven, you're all ready to hit the piñata. Thank you, sister. Here you are. Now, I'll make very sure that you don't know where it is. 1, 2, 3, and don't look at me with it. Now, hit. Now, and I'm going to make very sure that you don't know where it is.
Well, we don't like it neither, Padre, but he's dangerous.
Everyone is invited to join in our simple Christmas pleasures.
That human ox has gotten under my skin.
Something from you.
It was a fine day in September in the merry month of July. The morning it was raining and the afternoon was dry. When I met a fair damoiselle sitting under the old oak tree. And even a word I said to her and she said the same to me.
He must be very hungry. Why are you here?
All right, now, if you insist. I just happen to have a touching little ballad from my native land about St. Joseph himself. By the way, where is little Jesus?
I cannot explain it, my son. The many things that can happen to a man. But it is right that you look upon every living thing with love. John was given to a family of settlers on their way to California for adoption. How did these men get him? Did they know how to treat a boy who could not speak? Who was full of fear because of the shame of it? Can you answer me these things, Marshal?
Sorry, Padre. All this star means to me is doing my duty, like I was told to do it.
Yes. Yes, I suppose that is so. Buenas noches.
Good night, Padre.
I don't know about you, but I'm raw frazzled. I'm gonna get some sleep.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. I feel like the devil.
I still couldn't find it in my heart to kill the big one. The marshal was shaken up some, but not hurt bad. Maybe I could knock him out. Hold it, Bruto. Bruto, you remember butt guns, don't you? Yeah, you remember. All right, move back. Go on, move.
Give us side door.
Padre, is there another way out of the barn?
Oh, no, senor.
Just found out. An old story for him. Trapped again. Padre, you better get the children back inside.
Oh, yes. Brother Terence, take the children back inside.
Maybe you better go inside too, Padre. If he breaks out, we'll have to shoot him down.
That you, Dutcher? Sure is, Walt. Well, I finally caught up with you.
Well, you've got the brute in there, ain't you? Why ain't he dead by now? You're the law. You know what he's done.
You got something wrong, mister. This isn't a lynching party.
I've heard those stories, how you and your brother mistreated those Mexicans that work on that farm of yours. There's talk that you bullwhipped that mute in there. Even yoked him to a plow.
You don't know what you're saying. Zach and me took him in from a burnt wagon 10 years ago and give him a home. Well, we made him earn his board and keep. But we never hurt him none. Never whipped him like you say. And that's the Lord's truth.
Senor.
Padre.
What is it, Brother Terence?
Padre, have you seen little Jesus? I can't find him anywhere.
Awfully quiet in that barn.
You don't think.
I don't know. But the lad sure took a fancy to him.
Be careful. He's got a gun. Looks like he's going to shoot the kid.
You don't aim to kill him, I will.
So you and your brother never whipped him. Look at his back.
Now you do it.
In nomine Padre, e Filio e Spiritus Sanctus. O merciful God, grant to all of us here the wisdom thou hast poured forth into this soul of this simple child. Grant that we may not so much seek to be consoled as to console others, to be understood as to understand, or to be loved as to love. For it is in giving we know, O Lord, that we receive. For it is in pardoning that we ourselves are pardoned. Amen. Jesus, you take your new friend inside. Find him a place to sleep. He must be very tired. Take him.
Padre, you know I have to take him back.
Oh, do not worry. I will be responsible for him. Marshal Jason and Senor Bonner will bring him to San Felipe.
Sure, Padre. But you know that John has to stand trial. But if I know my people, it'll be a clear verdict of self-defense. Come on, boys.
When the trial ends, as we hope it will, I will bring John back here. It is the only real home he has ever known. He loves the children. He will be happy here.
I think it's going to be a beautiful Christmas.
Mira, la estrella de pastor, amigos.
The morning star.
Peace on earth, gentlemen.
Salt Lick wasn't much different from any one of 100 small, dried-up cow towns in the West. It was just harder to get to. I'd push Scar all day through country that wasn't fit for prairie dogs. And thinking about that 50-mile ride back to Cooper City tomorrow didn't make either one of us feel any better.
That you, McCall?
No, McCall's sick. He sent me instead.
Who are you?
It's Bonner, Sheriff. Vint Bonner.
Well, Vint, I'm glad to see you. You know what kind of job this is, don't you?
Yeah. I'm supposed to take a man back to Cooper City to be hung.
That's partly right. But this ain't a man. He's a cold-blooded murderer.
I've met that kind before.
Not like this one, you ain't. Not like Ransom Khalil. He's the hardest, meanest, lowest form of humanity I ever come in contact with inside jail or out.
Well, mean or not, I've still got to take him to Cooper City.
I don't envy your job, Vint. I suppose you got the papers.
Right here. Here's a warrant for his transfer and my identification as temporary deputy.
This could be more temporary than you think. Would you like to meet him?
Tomorrow will be soon enough. I'd like to get over to the hotel and get a meal and a good night's rest. My horse is tired, too.
I think you ought to meet him tonight, just in case you don't show tomorrow morning. I'll understand why.
Is he all that tough?
He's that tough. Bedrock, nothing else.
Let's meet him.
Khalil.
What do you want?
How'd you like to meet the man that's going to take you back to Cooper City?
I already met McCall.
But this ain't McCall.
The game's on me, Sheriff.
Well, look at him. Sheriff McCall wasn't able to make it himself, so he sent Mr. Bonner here in his place.
It's 50 miles to Cooper City, Mr. Bonner.
You can take it one of two ways. Riding a horse or being dragged by one.
Real tough, ain't you? Real tough, 'cause you got the law behind you.
I'd just as soon take you back dead as alive. I knew the storekeeper you murdered. He was a quiet, harmless man.
I heard all about it. He had a wife and 4 kids. Anything else you gotta tell me?
No. Nothing else.
You see what I mean?
I see what you mean. He's the kind that doesn't bend.
That's Khalil. He'll never bend.
He'll break.
What?
When the pressure gets too tight, he'll break.
Not Khalil.
Maybe, maybe not.
Bent, while you're getting room over at the hotel, I'll take your horse down to the stable and see that he's curried and fed.
Drop around later.
And I'll do that, and I'll buy you a drink. Because you're taking a load off my back. A big one. Well, you can't stand on one leg. Drink up, I'll buy another one.
That one's enough. It's a long ride tomorrow. I'll need all the rest I can get.
Howdy, Sheriff.
Hello, hello.
Is this the fellow who's taking ransom Khalil back to Cooper City?
You see how that kind of news travels? What about it?
Oh, nothing, Sheriff, nothing. Only I was just wondering where I could find Khalil's woman.
Well, I guess she's around town, all right.
Sheriff! Even if she is Khalil's gal, I'd give every ounce of dust I ever mined to have her look at me once. Just once. The way she looked at Khalil. Never could figure out what she seen in that cuss, that sour puts. He just as soon kick a woman as kiss him.
Well, I guess some heifers just ain't choosy about the pastures they roam, huh?
Well, this one can roam my pasture any time of the day, Sheriff. Any season of the year. Valia's her name. The prettiest little trick you ever did see. Skin the color of ivory, and the hair was just as black and...
Old timer, I think you better stick around civilization for a while. You're getting balmy wandering around the desert all the time.
Balmy, you call it? I just wish I was 20 years younger. I tell you, I'd go after that black-haired little gal, and I did. That's what I do.
Howdy.
Do you want to get yourself killed?
Not for a spell yet. Oh, do you mind if I put my hands down, Sheriff?
Sure. And I'm not the sheriff. You'd be Valia.
Yeah, I'm Valia. You, got anything to eat around here?
Sorry.
Ain't had a square meal since that skunk Khalil got himself thrown in jail.
There's a place downstairs. I'll stake you to a meal.
Well, now. You're a gentleman. That's what you are, a real gentleman.
How'd you get in here?
Just walked in. I saw you on the street talking to the sheriff. Figured you'd stay here. It's the only hotel in town. I asked the clerk for your room number.
I'll stake you to a meal, but you're walking out.
You mean you want me to go?
That's the idea.
I don't have any place to go. I can't go back to my folks, or they'd tan my hide. I don't know where they are, anyway.
What about Khalil?
I wouldn't ask him for anything. I wouldn't touch $1 million gold if that skunk had anything to do with him.
I was told you were fond of him.
I was. Oh, I'd be glad to see him swing. You know what he did? He's got some money hid. You think he'd tell me? No, sir. Said if he couldn't spend any of it, neither could I. He wouldn't care if I starved.
What did you expect to find here?
You. Just you. I know a lot about you, Mr. Bonner. I know you're tough, but you ain't mean. I know you're taking Khalil back to Cooper City where they're gonna hang him. And when they hang Khalil, there'll be nobody. I'll be all alone. I'm Khalil's woman. Know what that means? I'd be willing to kill anyone who tried to hurt him.
Come in.
Say, Vint. Hey, see, you had company.
Khalil's girl.
Did she do that?
Just a scratch.
You know something? She's just as bad as he is.
Tell you one thing. She loves him.
Yeah?
Well, that's no crime, is it, Sheriff?
No, but what she done to your shoulder is, I'll scour the town and throw her into jail.
Forget it.
What'd you say?
I said forget it. As long as I don't press charges, you can't put her in jail.
But I don't want her in this town.
She won't be long after Khalil leaves. As long as he's here, she'll be thinking up schemes to get him out. By the way, Sheriff, who's minding the jail?
Hey. All right, Khalil, let's get going.
Why? I ain't interested in rushing this thing.
Come on, stalling ain't gonna get you nothing. Let's get moving.
Suppose we give him a little time to finish his breakfast.
I ain't asked anything from you, mister.
You're not getting anything, except one more minute with that.
And that could be the last breakfast you ever gonna eat.
I'm through. Lots of things can happen in 50 miles. Ready whenever you are, mister.
I'm ready.
Well, I guess this girl's given up, Vint. But you keep an eye peeled just the same, and not alone for her. I understand a few renegade Apaches broke out the reservation and are prowling south.
I heard that before I left Cooper City.
Well, it's your show from here on out. Good luck to you, Vint.
Thanks. So long, Sheriff. Move out. Not easy to eat with those things on your wrist.
Hear me complaining?
I'll take them off if you promise not to try anything.
Promise to kill you first chance I get.
Guess they stay on then. Hold it.
Worried about something, mister?
Not particular.
I know different. I heard what Jernigan said back in Salt Lake about those renegade Apaches being on a prowl.
We'll rest the horses a while. I said we'd rest the horses. Get off. Over there.
You sure picked the place, mister.
What's wrong with it?
Them Indians could be anywhere in them hills, waiting to pick us off.
Are you thinking about it? I was wondering if you thought about anything, Khalil.
I can think as clear as the next man. Only difference between me and them, they ain't got my kind of guts.
No man's made of iron.
Look, I know what's waiting for me in Cooper City. All right, so it's gonna happen. That's all there is to it.
I wasn't thinking about Cooper City. I was wondering about those Indians. What would happen if they came down?
Well, if they come down, I can take it here. Same as in Cooper City.
Here, have a drink.
I ain't ask you for nothing, mister.
Have a drink. We're gonna be here a while.
You're wondering about me, ain't you, mister? You're wondering that maybe down deep there might be some of me in you. In everybody. Scares you a little, don't it, mister?
I wouldn't trade places with you.
You'll get yours. You see, you and me are more alike than you care to admit. I just had the guts to stand up and take what I wanted. You'd do the same if you thought you could get away with it.
Anyone ever bother to tell you the difference between what's right and what's wrong?
What's right and what's wrong? Now, there's a laugh. I guess even that measly storekeeper was right according to the way you look at it.
He was a family man. He wasn't doing anyone any harm.
He was greedy, like a weasel's greedy. Buying at one price, selling at another, and hoarding his money.
You're not even faintly sorry you killed him, are you?
I'm just sorry I got caught.
What about his wife and children?
They're none of my outlook.
Khalil, you deserve to be hanged.
I ain't begged for nothing, have I? I ain't weaseled or broke. Hang? Hang and be damned.
Get on your horse. On your horse. You know, Khalil, you judge by a yardstick you don't use on yourself.
Yeah? What's that supposed to mean?
That girl of yours.
Nice twist of female flesh, wouldn't you say?
She risked her life for you last night.
She'd done a better job with that knife. Maybe I'd be grateful.
You move wrong and I'll put a bullet in you before you've gone 10 feet.
Gonna gun a woman. Too bad she's out of close range.
She better stay out of range.
No use, mister. She'll be dogging us every step to Cooper City. Ain't so bad right now. But come nightfall, she's like a cat. She'll creep up behind you, soft as you please. And she'll have her claws deep in you before you know it. But you already know that, don't you, mister?
If that's what you wanted, why did you fire that shot?
To put a bullet in your head, that's why.
But you just said it yourself. She's out of range. She knows that, doesn't she?
What are you getting at, mister?
She could have waited till nightfall. Easy. Why risk warning me with a bullet that didn't have a chance?
I said, what are you getting at?
Your girl? I think she's in trouble. I think that shot was a call for help.
She can help herself. No skin off my hide what trouble she's in.
That's far enough. Drop the gun.
I gotta talk to you.
Not with that gun in your hand. Drop it.
I can't.
Go on. Put a slug in her. If you can, mister. I swear. Afraid to shoot a woman. Go on, honey. Put one in his teeth. Show him you're my gal.
Stop right there. I'll put a hole in your arm. That's better. Now drop the gun.
I think I better hang on to it. Why do you think I came down off that rock?
Behind these rocks, both of you. Hurry up. How'd you get out here without a horse?
I busted its heart, getting away from them. I had to. Know what they'd do to me if they...
Yeah.
Do I keep the gun?
Keep the gun.
Khalil.
What?
Well, this sort of throws odds against me, hon, but they ain't hung you yet.
It's great. It takes care of everything, don't it?
Cleo.
What do you want?
Well, I'm sorry I didn't do better last night. I tried.
Forget it. What's done is done.
They'll pick the horses off easy. And then we're stuck.
How well can you take starvation?
They won't stay around long. They just broke out of the reservation. Their only chance is to make the border. We're only a temporary diversion.
That may be true. Except for Valier here. He'll stick around a while for Valier.
Yeah, I guess they might.
Hey, you! Hey, you down there!
What do you want?
The girl. You got girl down there.
You go on, get out of here.
We're young, strong. We have some fun.
You had your fun, now go on.
Mister, you ain't gonna talk him out of this.
I can try.
You can try all you want, but you're not gonna do it.
You give us girl, we go away. You keep girl, we kill you both.
Cleo,
What do you want now?
they mean it, Cleo.
Valier! Valier! Valier, listen to me, get back! Do as I say, get back! Valier, no! Valier! Valier!
Close to 6 months, I'd been working at the Lonely Oak Ranch, lending my friend Jim Blackwell a hand. I don't generally stay in one place that long, but Jim had been sick. Real sick.
Afternoon, Ben.
Howdy, Sheriff.
How have you been? Hardly ever see you in town anymore.
Well, I don't get to town much since the old man's been under the weather.
Oh, yeah. How's old Jim feeling?
No better. And the doctor says he's not going to get any better.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Say, any sign of the Sacramento stage yet?
No, but ought to be along any minute. Why?
Jim Blackwell's daughter is on it.
Vint, what are you talking about? Jim doesn't have any family.
He did have a while back.
Well, it was a long time ago when Jim was just a ranch hand. Only his wife didn't like ranches, so one day she packed up, took the youngster, and lit out for Sacramento.
How much do you figure old Blackwell is worth now?
He's got a fine herd of cattle, nice spread, and money in the bank.
Well, there's the stage.
Not much of a town, is it?
Not after a state capital.
Maybe you'll let me try and make it more interesting for you.
Now, that's an interesting offer. But someone's coming in to meet me, Mr. Bonner.
Miss Blackwell? I'm Vint Bonner.
Oh? Well, how do you do?
Well, I see you're in good hands. I'll say good day, Miss Blackwell.
Is he a friend of yours?
We met on the stagecoach.
I'll get your things.
How far is it to the ranch?
A mile and a half or so.
It's a quiet little town, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You weren't looking for excitement, were you?
No, Mr. Bonner. I wasn't looking for excitement. You're, my father's foreman, aren't you?
I've been working for him for a while.
For the last 6 months.
That's right. How did you know?
He wrote me about you. How is he? Any change?
No change. The doctor says he has a few more days.
I see.
I'll help you in the wagon. I was wondering when you're going to get around to asking about him.
I think that's being pretty hateful, Mr. Bonner.
Miss Blackwell, Jim's a friend of mine from a long time back. I just think he ought to know for certain who's coming to see him.
I'm his daughter.
So you said in the letter. But for 20 years, you didn't show much sign of it.
I didn't know where he was.
But now you know.
Look, I didn't come all the way up here to listen to a cowhand insult me.
I'm not trying to insult anyone. I'm just being cautious.
Well, look, I'm Mary Blackwell, a legal heir, and I can prove it. And don't give me any trouble. You'd be surprised how well I can take care of myself.
Jim. You took long enough to get back.
I'm sorry, Jim.
Where is she? Did she get here? Is she? Oh. You look a lot like your ma. 20 years I had to wait to see you. 20 years.
I have a picture of my mother. Would you like to see it?
Oh, yes.
It was taken just before she died.
Yes, that's Janie. She was a fine-looking woman. Mary, Mary. I'm sorry about all those years.
I know. But we're together now.
Well, I was sure glad to get your letter. I've been a lonely man, Mary.
I tried to find you before. I didn't know you'd settled down. Done so well.
Yes. We've got a lot to talk over, ain't we?
Yes.
Not much time to do it.
Oh. Now, don't talk that way.
Oh, but it's true. You don't have to get soft with me. I'm a tough, hard old man, Mary. Not easy to get along with at all. Your ma found that out.
Now, don't.
Patron, you must rest. Later you will talk.
Yeah. I'm all right. I'm all right.
I owe you an apology.
Yes, I guess you do.
I won't give you any more trouble. Hi, Sam. I think I'll take a drink.
Hello. Mr. Bonner.
I thought you were with Jim.
He fell asleep. So I saddled a horse and came on in.
Your place is out at the ranch right now.
You want me to stay there all the time? I talked to him all afternoon.
Bonner, the young lady and I are having a peaceable talk. Name's Steve Colby.
I know you, Colby. You're going home.
Listen, you big ox, you don't run my life, understand?
You're going home.
Hey!
Look, I said she's... I wouldn't do that.
Look, Bonner, maybe you can boss those ranch hands around, but not me.
Keep your voice down.
I can take care of myself.
You're sure doing a great job of it. The first man you pick up with is a cheap outlaw that spent half his life in jail.
Steve Colby.
Now you go on upstairs and you get some sleep.
Vint, that you? Come in here.
Good night.
Jim, you know the doctor said you shouldn't smoke these.
Never mind the doctor. You tend to your own health. What's all the ruckus? You having trouble with that girl?
Well, she's a little tough, kind of headstrong. She's your daughter for sure.
My daughter. Is she the only girl that got off that stage this morning?
Why?
Why? Why, you thick-headed cowpoke. That's the wrong girl.
Are you sure?
No, she had me fooled for a while. But I've talked to her a lot more since. I've tripped her up on at least a dozen things, and she didn't even know it.
But the locket she showed you, that was a picture of your wife, wasn't it?
You're dang right it was, and that's what I'm worried about. How'd that girl come to get it? And what's she up to?
Jim, it's been a long time. She was just a child when you saw her last. You could be mistaken.
Who's mistaken? I tell you, that's the wrong girl. Now, look at here. You find out who she is. Oh, quiet down. Go on, son. Go on now. You find out who that girl is. Never get anything done here unless I do it myself.
In spite of what Jim had told me, the next morning I could tell it wasn't going to be easy to get at the truth. I tried to talk to the girl, but she was always busy. Busy being helpful. Jim tried to get something out of her, but she spent the whole day acting like a loving daughter. By the time I'd finished working around the ranch, she'd even decided to let up on me.
Mr. Bonner? Vint? Well, can't I call you Vint?
Sure.
I want to talk to you. You've been acting so strange today. So is my father. Could you tell me what it's all about?
We can talk later.
If you'd rather, but there seems so little time left, and not like my father to love me. If he can. You still don't trust me, do you? I don't want you to be cold toward me or distant. Not either of you. Can't you stay and talk?
I better go see Jim. How do you feel, Jim?
How do you think I feel?
Jim, are you still sure about that girl?
Yeah, surer than ever.
But she seems straight enough, and she even seems fond of you.
Fond of me? Well, anybody'd be fond of me to get this ranch. And I ain't very easy to get fond of. She ain't the right kind of girl. My wife was a lady, and her daughter would be a lady. This one ain't no lady. Not clean through. Can't you tell?
Well, I thought she was a little strange, but...
She don't know enough of the facts, Bint, about Janie and about me.
Well, it's a long time, Jim. What facts could she know?
I used to hear from Janie. She'd write and tell me how things were going and what a fine town Sacramento was. Yeah. And then I got one letter. Said she'd met a man. Said she'd like to be set free.
Who was he?
Oh, an important lawyer. He was going to be a big man in the legislature one day. Then the last I ever heard from her was telling what a fine wedding they had. That's why I didn't try to get in touch with him again. I wanted her to be happy.
You shouldn't have lost touch with your daughter, Jim.
Oh, she had a lot more than I could give her. Stepfather in line to be governor, maybe. But Vint, this girl didn't know a thing about any of that. I'm worried. I'm afraid something's happened to my Mary.
Easy, Jim.
This woman has come here to get my money. And that money belongs to my Mary, not to that little fake.
You all right?
Yeah. Look, son, you got to find out the truth for me. How she knows what she does know, and how she got that picture.
All right, Jim.
And hurry. Yes, I guess you better hurry.
Miss Blackwell, you out here?
Right here, Vint.
I want to talk to you.
You stay right here. I'll come back as soon as I can. What is it? Is he?
He's just about the same. Who are you?
Who am I?
A man should know his own family. Jim Blackwell says you're no part of his.
So that's what's been eating him. And you too.
You're wasting my time. Who put you up to this?
Don't push her around, Bonner. Everything she told you is true. Now leave her alone.
Colby, from what I've heard of you, you're just the kind to try and swindle a dying old man.
It's not a swindle. She is Blackwell's daughter.
Why is it so hard for you to understand that? Because I'm not what you expected me to be. You want the truth. This is it. I hate every bone in my father's body. And I'm here to tell him so.
Then you are his daughter.
Oh, you bet your sweet life I am. His only kin, and before he dies, he's going to know it. What's so helpless about Jim Blackwell? Tell me that. All he's done for the last 20 years is get meaner and richer. The only thought he ever gave to his family was when he was on his dying bed and I wrote to him.
But you didn't need him. You had your stepfather to take care of you.
Oh, I never had any stepfather.
But Jim said your mother married a lawyer, a man who could have been governor of the state.
Governor of the state? Oh, Steve!
Take it easy, Mary. Janie Blackwell never married again. She died while working in a Sacramento saloon.
But the letters...
I don't know anything about what she wrote him. Maybe she was too proud to tell him the truth, but I'm not. My mother worked in a saloon, and she died in a saloon. That's all the Sacramento she ever knew. That's all I ever knew.
Satisfied, Mr. Bonner?
Colby, go on home.
What for? I'm the one who found Mary's father living here. It's as much my business as anybody's.
I said go on home.
Go on, Steve. I'll see you later.
Make sure you get what's coming to you. It's a lot of money, Mary. Don't get cut out of it.
Well, you still think Jim Blackwell needs protection, Mr. Bonner?
Mary, go upstairs.
Oh, no. Not until I tell him exactly what I've told you.
You can't do that.
No? Well, just why do you think I came to this miserable town?
Senor, the patron asked for you. He is very bad.
I'll be right with you.
Well, I'm going in there with you.
No, you're not. The reason he never got in touch with you is he believed those letters.
Senor!
He's been a lonely man.
You talk to her?
Yeah, Jim, I talked to her.
Well, what'd you find out?
Nothing for you to worry about,
Don't
Jim.
hedge with me, you big clodhead. Get her in here.
I'm here.
Come in here. We got some talking to do. Sit down.
You feel all right?
No, I'm weak. I'm old and weak, and I'll give out. But I can still talk a little.
I'll bet you can.
Oh, he told you, didn't he? I can see it in your eyes. He told you that I'm on to you.
Yes.
You ought to be proud of yourself, leading me on to believe that you ain't no daughter of mine. Well, are you?
Jim, wait a minute.
I ain't got time to wait. My daughter was a lady. You ain't no lady. You're nothing but a fake.
You're right, Mr. Blackwell. I'm not your daughter.
Vince, you hear that?
It's true. I came here to trick you and to take your money.
How'd you know so much about me? Where'd you get that picture?
Oh, well, I knew your daughter. Yes, she was a very good friend of mine. She gave it to me.
Well, then, you can give it to me, then. You've got no right to have it. You got no right to touch it. Get it off your neck. Where'd you know my Mary?
In Sacramento. She was a wonderful girl.
I bet there was nothing hard about her eyes.
That's right. She was a lady.
That's a fact. Did you know my Janie, too?
Yes. Yes, I knew your Janie, too. They were both wonderful people. Oh, you know the man that Jenny married? Well, he was always very kind to them, to both of them. He was a very important lawyer.
Yes, that's right. She wrote and told me.
Then after Janie died, why, he took Mary to Europe, I think. Yeah, they're over there somewhere now, still living.
That's very far away. Well, if you hear from her, write her about me, will you?
Oh, sure.
And Vint, you see that my Mary gets my money.
Your daughter will get your money, Jim.
Yeah. You're not a very smart young woman, are you? To try to steal from an old man.
No, I guess you're right.
You didn't fool me. Not for long. So I guess I can forgive you.
Well, thank you.
Mary.
I've got to get out of here. Will you drive me into town, Vin?
That was a fine thing you did. It took a lot of courage.
I only told him what he wanted to hear, that's all. I'll get my things.
You could stay a while. It's your home.
Oh, no. Thank you, Vin, but there's a man waiting for me. The kind of man that I'm used to.
I'll get the buck, boy.
Mary. It fell from his hand.
Here's something else. The way this gun is balanced, my company guarantees 67% accuracy shooting from the hip. Now watch this. There, see that? Specially designed for gunfighters. Weighted stock. No matter how you twirl it, it winds up in firing position. Well,
that's right pretty, Mr.
Fraser, sir. George W. Fraser. Western representative of the S&F Smith Company of Hartford, Connecticut. Welcome to fire it if you want, Mr. Bonner.
Much obliged. I don't think I could match you in that fancy twirling, but, let's take an ear off that cactus there. Wait a minute. Here.
He's dead, isn't he?
Yeah, he's all dead. You know him, Mr. Fraser?
No, I don't. What are you doing?
I'm trying to find out who he is. I don't much relish going through a dead man's pockets, but, what the devil?
What's that?
Your guess is as good as mine, but it looks like the torn half of a flag to me.
P-H-O. P-H-O? What does that mean?
I don't know. But we better take him into Twin Rivers with us and talk to Sheriff Townwell.
Take him with us? A cadaver?
Of course. For all you know, he might have been shot with one of those fancy 6-guns of yours. Grab his feet.
Where'd you come on him?
Oh, about 3 hours east of here, just beyond O'Hara's Dip.
Well, strictly speaking, I don't branch out that far. According to our government survey... Afternoon, Mayor Wheeler. This is Vint Bonner, an old friend of mine. He just got in town.
Vint Bonner. I'm very happy to know you, sir.
Glad to know you, Mayor.
You're a man whose reputation is well known in Twin Rivers. How do you do, sir?
Oh, this is Mr. Fraser.
George W. Fraser, sir, representing the S&F Smith Company of Hartford, Connecticut, manufacturers of the Super Smith 45 revolver.
You're a gun salesman, Mr. Fraser. It's very interesting. You see, I'm a gun collector myself. When you've completed your business in town, why not just stop by my house and have a look at my collection? And, you may find that I'm not completely uninterested in whatever samples you may have brought with you.
Well, I'd be delighted to pay you a visit.
Good. I'll be expecting you then. Mr. Bonner, I'd consider it an honor if you, too, would allow me to show you a little Twin Rivers hospitality, if time permits.
I've always got time for a little hospitality, Mayor.
Splendid. I look forward to seeing you both, then. Sheriff, I won't bother you now. I'll come back when... Well, what is this?
Matter of fact, it's the main reason I'm here. That and the dead man I found lying on top of it.
Dead man? Someone from Twin Rivers?
Nobody I ever saw before. I never saw that before, neither.
Does it mean anything to you, sir?
Well, I should say, gentlemen, it's merely a guess, you understand. It's a fragment of the Beauregard flag.
Beauregard flag? You mean the Confederate flag?
Yes, sir. A battle flag designed by General Beauregard after the Battle of Manassas to supplant the original Confederate flag because of its confusing similarity to the Union flag. I'm sorry. I'm sure you gentlemen have more important things to do than listen to a recital of useless information. Mr. Bonner, Mr. Fraser, I shall look forward to seeing you both at your convenience.
Yes, sir, Mayor.
Beauregard flag.
Was Mayor Wheeler from the South, Sheriff?
I don't know where he's from, Mr. Fraser. Only know he showed up in town just before the end of the war. Opened a general store, he worked hard. Town elected him mayor about 2 years ago.
Seems like a good man.
He sure is. What are you thinking about, Mr. Fraser?
Nothing. Just wondering. Seem to know so much about a Confederate flag.
What does that mean?
Doesn't mean a thing. Did say something about the Battle of Manassas.
Well?
It's southern talk. Up north, they call it the Battle of Bull Run.
By golly, that's right.
You got a flowery way of talking. Well, I like a mystery, but I came here to sell guns, and I better get on with it before the company decides it's a mystery why they hired me. I'll be seeing you around town before I pull out.
All right. Well, I better get on with buying the supplies I came for. It's all yours, Sheriff. The body, Confederate flag, and the Battle of Bull Run.
Thanks a lot, Vint. Well, I suppose I gotta ask around and see if anybody came through town I missed. But I know there ain't. The last fellow that came through town wasn't your dead friend. He had brown hair and a Virginia drawl. Oh, about 2 weeks ago. He spent an hour with the mayor, and then he rode away.
Confederate flags, Virginia drawls. Say, Sheriff, may I keep this?
Sure, Vint.
I thought the war was over. Well, since the mayor isn't home, Mrs. Wheeler, I'll come back some other time.
Why, certainly not, Mr. Bonner. He's only stepped out for a few minutes. Come on over and sit down and have a cup of tea till he gets back.
Thank you, ma'am.
You don't think I'd let you get out of here that fast, do you? It's so seldom we have any visitors. Why, you're our first in, about a month and a half, I'd say.
You said a month and a half?
A month and a half?
You said a month and a half since your last visitor.
Well, I think so. John McMichaels from Blade. He just stopped by on his way through town.
Is this McMichaels from Virginia?
Virginia? Oh, no, I should say not. Blade's up north of here, almost up to Casper.
Then he's not a Southerner.
Why, John was born right here in Twin Rivers. His folks moved away when he was just a little boy. This is the first time he's been by since then.
A month and a half, and not 2 weeks ago.
Mr. Bonner, I'm afraid I don't understand what you're asking me.
I heard that a man came through here about 2 weeks ago.
Mr. Bonner. I'm sorry I wasn't here to welcome you, sir.
Hello, Mr. Mayor. I was just in the neighborhood. I thought I'd drop by.
I'm glad you did. I couldn't be happier. Florence, I'd bet Mr. Bonner's a man who'd appreciate a good glass of hard cider.
Oh, I just offered him a cup of tea.
Tea? Plenty of time for tea. Do you have a palate for cider, Mr. Bonner?
Well, I never turned on a glass yet.
You've answered me, sir. Come this way.
Oh, Sam, you're not taking Mr. Bonner to the cellar.
And that's where the cider is, my dear. Come along, Mr. Bonner.
Right with you, Mayor. Excuse me, ma'am.
Hard cider's not easily come by these days, Mr. Bonner.
That's right, Mayor.
This is not the ordinary stuff. I age it myself. Mr. Bonner?
Thank you.
A very good health, sir.
And yours, sir.
Mr. Bonner, I'm most desperately in need of help.
I thought you knew more about the flag than you let on.
The flag. Do you have it with you?
Right here.
Mr. Bonner. Phoenix. From our ashes, the South shall rise again.
But what is Phoenix? And who are you?
I'll tell you, because I need your help. It's a strange story, Mr. Bonner. Won't you sit down? There were only 12 of us to begin with, all hot-blooded sons of some of the first families of Virginia. The South was beaten. But we 12 swore a bloody oath that from her ashes we would make her rise again. Phoenix. We'd collected a large sum of gold. I won't tell you how we collected it. Some of the ways weren't pretty. But we were patriots, and we felt the cause justified the methods. This was our plan. One of our number would take this hoard of gold and ride to the northwest, find himself a town, assume a new identity, and settle there, as long as it took for federal surveillance to be abandoned. Then this gold would be taken from its hiding place and used to raise a new army.
You mean start the war again?
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yes, it is. What about this flag?
6 of the Beauregard pennants were torn in half. Each of us received a fragment. The man that was chosen to safeguard the gold was told to wait until someone came to him with one of these. Then he would know it was time.
Then you have the gold.
Yes. 2 weeks ago, a stranger came to me, bringing one of these.
That would be the man with the Virginia accent. He was seen coming to you.
Yes, he was the first messenger. And I sent him away. Years change a man, Mr. Bonner. I was young then, hot with the fire of defeat. I carried the pride of Virginia on my shoulders. But I'm older now. My temper's cooled. I have a wife, a child. I'm liked and respected here. This is all past.
You said the first messenger.
Yes. The second came 2 nights ago. I knew he would. You see, Phoenix allowed for the possibility that some of us may change our minds. The first came simply with news, and I sent him away. The second came with threats.
What happened?
I killed him. His was the body you found.
Where's the gold now?
It's here. Untouched, intact. The exact sum I buried there the day I arrived in Twin Rivers. I know what's on your mind, Mr. Bonner. Why don't I just give it to them and wash my hands of the whole affair? I cannot. They cannot be allowed to carry out this mad plan. The war's over and done.
What happens if you continue to refuse?
When the second messenger fails to return, they'll dispatch a third. There can be little doubt as to what his orders will be.
How do you do?
How do you do?
My name is Frazier. Mayor Wheeler asked me to stop by.
Oh, just a minute. Sam, do you want to talk to Mr. Frazier?
Frazier?
He says you asked him to stop by.
Oh, yes, the gun salesman. Yes, Florence, please ask him to come in.
Won't you come in, Mr. Frazier?
Thank you, ma'am. Mayor?
Come in, Mr. Frazier, come in. It's awfully nice of you to remember me.
Well, if you two are going to talk about guns, I'll leave. It's no place for a woman.
Why don't you sit down, Mr. Frazier?
Thank you. But before I do, I'd like to show you one or two of our latest models. You might find something here that you'd like to add to your collection. Let's see. What have I got to show you? Yes. Single action. Double action.
I'm afraid my collection is rather complete just now, Mr. Fraser.
Doesn't have one of these, sir. This isn't everybody's gun, Mayor. This is special. A limited edition, manufactured under the strictest supervision. It's the only one I have with me, and I've been waiting for a person just such as you are, sir, to show it to. Have I guessed correctly, Mayor Wheeler? Are you intrigued? On behalf of the Phoenix, sir, I bring you greeting.
You are the third messenger.
I am the final messenger. You were informed, you were warned, and now it is the decision of the Phoenix that you be...
I know you'd like a cup of tea, Mr. Fraser.
Why, yes, indeed. Thank you, ma'am.
Just put your gun down over there and join us.
And these guns?
Would you mind,
Sure.
Mr. Fraser? Now, we can all sit down and have our tea. Oh, my goodness.
What is it?
I'm sure I left the kettle boiling on the stove. I'd better check it.
Florence.
I'll be right back. Don't wait for me. Oh, Mr. Bonner. Mr. Bonner. Mr. Bonner, that Mr. Fraser, he's in there with Sam. He's one of them.
From the Phoenix?
Yes, he's going to kill him. Oh, please come quickly.
Afternoon, Mr. Bonner. Coming to see the mayor?
That's right.
Mrs. Wheeler, thank you for the hospitality. Good day.
Sam, thank heavens. Thank heavens.
You knew who he was.
I know everything, Sam. About the flags, the gold, the messengers. What you've done, and what they've done to you.
But I never told you about...
I know. You've kept this secret all to yourself for all these years. But that first messenger didn't know that. He told me everything. You see, I pretended not to know what you were talking about when you asked about the man with the Virginia accent. How was I to know who you were?
Yes, ma'am, I see.
Sam, I thought he'd killed you.
No, dear. Not yet. They're remarkably fair-minded, my old comrades. They want to make absolutely sure that I'm guilty before they execute me. They've given me until nightfall to produce the gold, get ready to return. If I refuse... Mr. Bonner, what am I to do? Mayor Wheeler, I wonder if you'd loan me your Beauregard flag for a while.
Come in. Welcome, Mr. Bonner.
Oh, Mr. Fraser?
Bang, bang. Let me pour you a drink.
Thanks, I like that. Kind of a warm day.
Still carrying that old flag around with you, huh?
Oh. Well, nobody seems to know what it's for.
Here.
Thank you.
Happy days. Guess we'll never find out who that dead man was. Kind of hard to figure out, isn't it? Half of a rebel flag, the letters PHO sewed across it. This isn't the same flag.
No. This is my flag.
Yours. And you're one of them?
You didn't know who I was, and I didn't know who you were.
How'd you find out?
Mayor Wheeler told me. He asked for my help. Funny, isn't it? He even showed me where he hid the gold.
He did?
So we don't need him anymore. So, we will pick up the gold tonight and be on our way back to Richmond. Comrade, let's drink to the cause. I see you're still selling guns, Mr. Fraser.
This is a real article, Mr. Bonner. You Phoenixes are well named, all right. No sooner do I think all of you are stamped out than another one crops up somewhere. I never thought you were one of them, though.
Well, I kind of got the impression that you might not be heading back to Richmond with the gold.
Pretty clever figuring.
And that the Confederacy wasn't exactly your favorite charity.
George W. Fraser's my favorite charity.
Where did you get the flag?
From one of you Phoenixes. The last one. At least I thought he was the last when I took that flag off his body. I killed the first one. Mayor Wheeler got rid of the second. And now there's just me, and you, and Mayor Wheeler. And all that gold to be had for the taking. And you're so clever at figuring, maybe you can figure out just who's gonna do that taking.
I came here to kill him myself and give myself up. I couldn't go on living in fear of what they may do.
You have nothing to worry about, Mr. Mayor. You're the last one left.
What about the other messenger?
Fraser killed him. He himself was just a drifter who heard about a good thing and came for the gold.
Then it's finished? Mr. Bonner, I can't tell you how relieved I am. Now I think I'd better go and turn myself over to Sheriff Townell.
We both have something to talk to the sheriff about, but what about the gold?
Yes?
Well, the war left a lot of women without husbands, a lot of children without fathers, both the North and the South.
Mr. Bonner, I believe I can trust you to see that it serves a worthy cause.
That's a job I'd like, sir. As Mr. Lincoln said, to bind up the nation's wounds and care for him who shall have borne the battle, and for his widow and his orphan.
Bob Jefferson, whom I'd worked with when he surveyed the railroad route through Gorsom Pass, had asked me to look in on Father Luke at Santa Rosa Mission. Said he wanted to talk to me. I couldn't figure out how he knew me in the first place, and since I hadn't had much to do with priests, I was a little nervous.
Come in, come in.
Father Luke?
Yes, and you must be Mr. Bonner.
Yes, sir.
Come in, Mr. Bonner, and make yourself comfortable.
Thank you.
How long has it been since you were inside a church, Mr. Bonner?
Oh, well, too long, Father.
Well, we're human in spite of what some people say. Please, sit down and relax. I'm sure it must have been a tiresome trip. A little wine, perhaps. We make it ourselves. We're very proud of it.
No, thank you. Father, I understood you wanted to transact some business with me. The word I got was urgent.
If it's business you want, business you shall have. Mr. Bonner, I sent for you because your name has come to stand for courage and integrity in this territory.
How can I help you?
Ours is an order of missionaries, Mr. Bonner. Some of us, myself included, have established missions in the most remote parts of this country. One such mission has not been heard from in much too long a time. I have been assigned to go to that mission and see that all is well with the priest.
Well, that shouldn't be difficult for you, Father. If I were to guess, I'd guess you to be an experienced trailhand.
You'd guess wrong. I've been concerned with other things. I need a guide, Mr. Bonner. A good one. I need you.
I'm not a professional guide, Father. Of course, if I knew the country...
I understand you know it well. Our trip will start here at Santa Rosa, go over into Arizona to Santo Domingo.
Santo Domingo?
Yes.
But that's strictly Indian country. I don't believe there's been a white man in there for years.
There has been one, and I must find him.
Could be dangerous, Father. There are no trails. We'd have to make our own.
I'm prepared for that.
I hope you are. Well, the tally checks out just fine, Father. You've bought enough beans and meal to supply a whole army.
That's an interesting comparison.
I don't suppose you'd be willing to consider changing your mind.
I put it off much too long already. There'll be no more delays.
That about sums it up. We're ready to move.
Oh, Mr. Bonner, there is something else that I should tell you.
What's that?
The supplies on that wagon are not just for the two of us. There will be others on the trip.
That's a welcome surprise to me, Father. We can use a couple of good hands on country like that.
No, I'm afraid you don't quite understand. Good afternoon, sisters. Please come in. Mr. Bonner, Sister Marquette, and Sister Teresa.
Mr. Bonner, I'm very proud to meet you.
I'm happy to meet you, sister. And you, too.
Indeed, Mr. Bonner.
Well, Father, I'm anxious to meet our passengers.
You just have.
The sisters?
That's correct, Mr. Bonner.
They are nurses as well as teachers. We are told that the Indian women and children are badly in need of such care.
They've been in need of such care for centuries. A little while longer won't make any difference.
A little while longer will bring snow, and that will mean the delay of another year.
Those Indians are hunting scalps, not reading and writing.
I don't hand out the assignments. I just accept them.
Father, it was bad enough to hope that you and I could make it alone. With these women along, we don't stand a chance.
You are a man of very little faith, Mr. Bonner.
I know the country better than you, Father.
You may know the country.
Excuse me, Father. May I have a word? Mr. Bonner, we have not come this far just to cause trouble. I think you know that. But we have our missions to accomplish. If we're successful, maybe it won't be so dangerous for the next ones.
Sorry I lost my temper. I realize that to ask a man to participate in a cause in which he's not really
Father,
a part...
Do you think these sisters know just what such a trip means?
I think we know, Mr. Bonner.
I think you don't, sister.
Have you ever seen an Indian smeared with war paint with a scalping knife in his hand? Have you seen men and women staked out on the plain to die in the sun?
No, and I don't think you have, Mr. Bonner.
What can I do to convince you people?
Is it possible that I overestimated you, Mr. Bonner?
It's entirely possible, Father. I'm sorry. Good day.
Just a minute, sisters. I'll help you.
Okay, sister, let me help you. There you are, Father.
Good morning, Mr. Bonner.
You know, I still couldn't believe that you intended to make this trip.
Oh, there's one more thing. If you'll give me a hand, it'll only take a minute. Then you can be on your way and we'll be on ours, huh?
It's a mighty handsome bell, Father.
I don't suppose it makes any difference to the Lord. But a mission doesn't seem complete to me without a bell.
Or a priest?
Sun's getting high, Mr. Bonner. The sisters and I should be hitting the trail.
Hold it, Father. If I can't talk you out of this trip, well, least I can do is go along with you.
You have a very great talent. It isn't every man who can make one feel at home out in the middle of nowhere.
Think nothing of it, sister.
I think you should make some girl a very acceptable husband.
Coming from Sister Teresa, I would consider that a compliment of the greatest proportion.
Father, maybe you can tell me something. Why is it that women, all of them, always want to talk about marriage?
I would hardly consider that a basis for complaint, Mr. Bonner. Somewhere inside you, she sees a gentleness, a kindness. Like every other young woman, she doesn't want to see it go to waste.
But she's a nun.
And she's a woman, Mr. Bonner.
About 3 or 4 hours. We just as well stay there for the night. It's as good a place as any among these bluffs.
Well, now we'll get some rest, huh? to empieza, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, sister.
You do wonders with these dried beans, Sister Teresa.
It's a simple formula, Father. A cup of beans, a little luck, and 2 very hungry men who would eat anything after 4 weeks on the trail.
Amen.
I've got a favor to ask, Father.
Anything at all, Mr. Bonner.
Well, it's this Mr. Bonner business. Would you mind calling me Vint? All these Mr. Bonners will spoil me for when I get back among just everyday folks.
Well, speaking for myself, I should be delighted. As for Sister Teresa, you'll have to take that up with her yourself.
Well, sister?
I would consider it an honor, Vint.
Thank you.
To have put it off wouldn't have softened the blow.
It looks like you've come a long way for nothing.
No, Vint. This is a beginning.
We are 2 men and a girl, Father. This was done by Apache warriors. They don't play by your rules.
Have we given them much chance?
What about the girl?
Sister Teresa may return with you if she wishes. That is a decision you will have to get from her.
Sister, we've come far into dangerous country. The Indians have raided the mission once. They can do it again. If you wish, I'll take you back to your convent.
I know that you're only thinking of us. But what you see around you is not the product of defeat. It's more a reminder of all the work there is to be done. If I am to help, I must be where I am needed.
To do a man's work?
God's work.
Well, Father, you've got your bell.
A truly beautiful sight.
It's wonderful, Father.
50, 100 years from now, when men have forgotten the differences that caused the bloodshed here, they will still see the bell. But enough preaching for today. I think we owe ourselves a little celebration.
just leave him there. We can't leave him there. We've got to help him. But he's hurt. He'll die if we don't go back.
Too late, sister.
No.
He's dead.
Not Father
He's
Luke.
got an arrow clear through him. He was a fine man, but he was only a man.
And us? What about us?
We can wait.
It was a typical Apache trick to strike with terror and then wait for panic.
Anything?
I can't figure it out. They should have rushed us by now. She was frightened, I think, but she didn't show it. She had real courage.
Is there any chance for us?
Some, maybe.
You can be truthful with me.
Sister, I don't know how many there are of them, but there's only 2 of us. These people haven't changed their customs for hundreds of years. To them, you'll be like any other white woman. They'll have no respect for what you wear or what you stand for. This could be it. I didn't know what to expect, but this could be the bait. I decided to hold my fire. Since he was alone, I'd better not show my hand yet. Looked like he was wounded, but I'd learned long before to never trust appearances where an Indian was concerned. Flowered shirt meant he could be a chief's son. He was hurt all right. Looked like he'd taken a bad fall.
There. That ought to keep it clean until he can get back to his own people.
You want to let him go?
Yes.
Let every brave in the countryside know that there's only 2 of us here?
I wouldn't be surprised if they know it already, Mr. Bonner. He's only a boy. I want you to let him go.
For the life of me, I cannot say why. But I did as she said. I admire your trust, sister. But we're getting out of here, even if I have to tie you hand and foot to do it. If you're wrong, we'll be dead by nightfall. If I'm wrong, we'll live a little while longer.
And Father Luke?
I'll dig a place for him.
By his bell, Mr. Bonner. I think he would like it like that.
This was borrowed time, all of it. By everything I knew, both of us should be dead by now. He broke the war arrow. I could hardly believe my eyes that one act of Christian charity could conquer an Apache war party seemed impossible. Buffalo hides, blankets, each brought a peace offering. Sister, let me add mine.
Flint, I already have much more than I can ever spend.
Someday you'll have need of it. She would be safe. It says in the book that faith can move mountains. It seems more important to me that it can move people.
Start cooling off about 4 o'clock. We only got about 15 more miles to go to Lead Creek. Yeah, I know. Why go to Lead Creek? There's a job on the railroad there. Laying track to Salt Lake. In the boiling sun. Sure, if either one of us had any sense, we'd be lying up under a porch someplace cooling off. But then we get hungry. So I better find work before I get hungry. I bet there's some hospitable people up there who are just dying to give us both a cold drink of water.
Anybody home? Anybody home?
What do you want?
I didn't mean to frighten you, man.
You didn't. State your business, mister.
My name's Bonner, ma'am.
Well?
Well, I saw your place from up the trail, and I thought...
I got no handouts.
See what you mean. All we wanted was a drink of water.
Well, all right. Over there.
It's good water. You and your husband run this place alone?
I've got no husband. Trouble enough as it is.
Kind of lonely country for a single woman.
That's right, mister. That's what I like about it. You had enough water?
I'd like to fill my canteen. I'm heading toward Lead Creek. I suppose you know the place.
I grew up there.
Nice town? Nice people?
They're the scum of the earth.
Scar, that lady back there wouldn't be so bad looking if she weren't so all-fired determined to be. Living out by herself in the middle of nowhere, suspicious and unfriendly. It's a hard thing not to like anybody, unless you first convince yourself that nobody at all likes you. And that isn't an easy job.
Help! Help!
A little accident. Water?
Sure.
Horse threw me a couple hours ago. I must have landed on my gun. It went off. You're a stranger, aren't you?
Just passing through. You need a good tight bandage on that.
Did you see my pinto? Half moon on his flank?
Put your arm on me. Put your weight on. My horse will get us to Lead Creek.
Lead Creek? I'll never make it.
It's the closest town.
Cabin. I passed a cabin a mile west. I could ride a mile.
Cabin?
Hey, miss!
Where did you come from?
Sorry to trouble you.
You get thirsty again or something?
I ran into a fellow down the road. Been shot up pretty bad.
Shot?
Yeah. It says his horse threw him and his gun went off accidental. Seeing as your place was nearest.
Where is he?
I left him on your front porch.
I'll get some water.
Do you know him?
No. Why should I know him? I don't know anybody.
I was just thinking, since he was in the neighborhood.
I don't know everybody that passes by here. I don't know you, mister.
Doing a nice job.
Huh.
Look, when I get to Lead Creek, I'll send out a doctor.
There isn't any doctor at Lead Creek.
Well, when I get someplace, there is one.
There isn't a doctor within 100 miles of here. I'll look after him myself.
That's very considerate, seeing as he's a stranger.
Help me get to the house, will you? Mr. Bonner. You won't tell folks in town he's here, will you?
Ma'am?
Well, like you said, he's a stranger. He doesn't concern them. And I don't want folks laughing at me in Lead Creek.
Laughing at you?
Oh, they'll say Jenny Garver's got herself a man. And if he wasn't unconscious, she never could have done it. Please don't tell them.
Well, I'll not likely be meeting anybody who would ask about him. Good day, ma'am.
What are you looking at?
Those 2 horses belong to you?
Yes. Yes, they do. Why?
I'm just asking. That Pinto looks like a real good animal. What do you call him?
His name's Moon. There's a marking on his flank. It's like a half moon.
I see. Well, I hope your patient doesn't give you too much trouble. I know just how you feel, son. Back and forth, back and forth. It's kind of tiresome, doesn't it? Well, it's only 6 miles to Lead Creek, so it can't be too long now.
You haven't got a chance, Landy. We're all around you. Ned, come on out of there with your hands up.
I'll come out. But I'm not Landy, whoever he is.
Well, I'll be dad blamed. Looks like we made a little mistake, boys.
I'm glad it was only a little one.
We mistaken you for somebody else. What are you doing out here?
I'm on my way to Lead Creek. Thought I'd get a job on the new railroad there.
I'm Jim York, sheriff around here.
Glad to know you. My name's Bonner, Vint Bonner.
Boys, this is Vint Bonner. This is Sam Norval.
Howdy.
Tom Jackson.
Bonner.
Harry Potter. Hey, you could maybe help us out, Vint.
What can I do?
We're looking for Ned Landy. That's who we thought you was at first.
What did he do?
Hold-ups, couple of shooting sprees, just one thing after another for the last few months. Last night, he broke into Harry Potter's store here and killed his brother.
Well, that's too bad. I'm sorry.
I took a posse out after him before, but he always manages to get lost in these hills. We picked up his trail this morning. Even seen him for a minute or two over in the backside of Devil's Canyon. Got off a shot. I thought for sure I'd hit him, but I guess not. Anyway, he's give us the slip again.
What does he look like?
About 30 years old. Dark, wiry, black hair. Rides a Pinto.
Pinto?
Yeah, that... You seen him?
Yes, I think I have.
Where was that?
I left him in the cabin a little ways back. He had a bullet in him. Then he shot himself accidentally when he fell off a horse.
It's him. Only cabin back that way is Jenny Garver's.
That's the name she gave me.
Mm-hmm. All right, boys, let's ride out to Jenny Garver's. Will you ride out with us, Vint?
You won't need my help. He was hurt pretty bad. I doubt if he'll last long enough to get him back to town.
Oh, we'll get him back all right. Old Doc here will fix him up.
Doctor? I understood there weren't any doctors in these parts.
Well, Sam Norval here's a doc. At least that's what he's been telling folk for the last 20 years.
Sheriff, wait. I changed my mind. I think I'll go along with you.
Well, fine, son. Come right along. Landy's hit as bad as you say he is. There ain't no need of whipping the horses. Let's take a little rest, boys.
What's so funny, Tom?
Oh, I was just thinking about Jenny Garver.
What about Jenny?
Well, she finally got herself a man.
Yeah, but she ain't gonna have him long.
Oh, that Landy must have been hit pretty bad not to stampede the first time he got a look at her.
I'll tell you one thing, it'd take more than a bullet to keep me there.
Something wrong with Miss Garver?
Oh, you seen her, didn't you?
Yeah, I saw her.
Well, ain't she just about the homeliest critter you ever did see?
I'll admit she's no raving beauty. Lots of plain women get along just as good as the pretty ones. Sometimes how a woman looks depends on who's looking at her.
Well, you just wait till you get a good look at this one, friend.
Oh, I never thought Jenny's what you'd call downright ugly. I think it's just she was so darn big and awkward. She always was a fine girl, though.
Yeah, I suppose she was. It's a funny thing about Jenny. Even when she was a little girl back in Lead Creek, she was always taller than the boys her age. And stronger, too.
Except at running. The boys could always run faster. Whenever they seen her coming.
It was a strange thing about her folks. Remember, Jim? They never would admit that there was any difference between her and the other girls. They used to dress her up in fancy clothes, frills and laces. Made her look twice as peculiar as she did already.
Yeah, I remember.
Her father used to take her to parties and square dances. He was always the only one that would ever dance with her.
It was real pitiful. You know, I don't think there was a boy in town ever courted Jenny. Not one.
Oh, now you can't say that, Sheriff. You're forgetting Will Franklin that time.
You know, I clean forgot about that.
I wouldn't know the joke.
It ain't much of a joke.
Oh, that Will Franklin's quite a cut-up. One time I...
Let me tell it. You know, there's Will Franklin. He made a bet one time with some of the boys. He bet us that he could take her out just one time and talk to her like he was wanting to get married, and she'd jump at it just like that.
That's the kind Will Franklin was.
It was the funniest thing I ever did see. There they was sitting in the wagon, and him a-talking so solemn you'd have thought he was... you'd have thought he was courting Lily Langtree. Well, he no more than popped the question when she says, "Oh, yes, Will." Well, what she didn't know was we was all hiding in the back of the wagon underneath a bed of straw. Well, when she said, "Oh, yes, Will," like that, well, we all busted up a laughing and a hollering, and we was carrying on like that.
Seems to me that was right after her folks died, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was about 5 years ago. She couldn't have been more than 20 at the time.
It was right after that. She packed up everything and moved out here all by herself.
I tell you, it was a dilly when we all popped up behind her in that wagon. I wish you could have been there and seen her face. Oh, like...
Just as glad I wasn't.
All right, let's move on. We've got other pleasant little chores to do.
Oh, okay.
Better leave the horses here. Sheriff, Landy's not liable to give you any trouble.
You never can tell. You may be feeling a little better by now.
Not that much better.
He's seen us.
I guess he wasn't as sick as you thought. Hold your fire, Tom. Never be able to hit him from here.
You suppose the Garver girl is all right?
Probably just scared half to death. Well, looks like we're going to have to rush him.
That's going to take some doing.
Here's what we'll do. You and Harry, see if you can get to that fence down yonder. When you hear me fire twice, that'll be the signal for us to close in.
Hold it. Look, if we go plowing up the front of that cabin, it's liable to get real messy around here.
Well, you've been shot at before, ain't you?
Not by preference. I don't exactly make it a hobby.
What do you got in mind?
There's a back door to that house. A couple of trees for cover, too.
Landy'll be watching that back door. He's no fool.
We could give it a try.
All right. I'll go with you.
No, I'd rather go alone. It's easier to hide one than two. Besides, I'm responsible for you coming up here without being more careful. You just give me some fire to cover my approach to that back door.
All right, Vint.
I'm not back in 5 minutes. Do it your way.
5 minutes. That's all the longer we'll wait. Protect yourselves, boys.
Jenny.
You told them. You brought them here.
I had to, Jenny.
You had to. I could have taken him away somewhere. When he was just a little stronger. That's all I want, isn't it? To get rid of him. You could have kept on riding. Never given us another thought. Why couldn't you let us alone?
Jenny, Ned killed a man in town last night.
I don't care. I don't care what he's done. I'm going to stay with him as long as he needs me.
You've kept him here all these months, haven't you? His pony knew right where to come. They're starting to close in on you, Jenny.
You're not going to take him away from me. He's my man, Mr. Bonner, and he needs me and he loves me. No one's ever needed me before. No one's ever loved me before. He doesn't think I'm ugly. He doesn't laugh at me. Do you know, even my mother told me I was going to be an old maid. Well, I won't. We're going to get out of this. And he's going to take me away from here and we're going to get married.
Jenny, listen to me.
I won't listen. I won't let you or anyone else take him away from me. Not if I have to kill you.
Ned can't use your help anymore, Jenny. He's dead. He was dead when I came in the house.
Oh, you're lying to me.
He's dead.
Well, we're sure much obliged to you, Mr. Bonner.
Don't thank me. It was your bullet that did it this afternoon.
Well, I'll be son of a gun. I knew I'd hit him. Remember, Tom? I told you.
Yeah, you sure did. Mr. Bonner here said he was hit bad. What I can't figure is how he was able to hold us off in there.
Oh, them Landys always was pretty tough people, and I guess Ned just took after the rest of them. He just wouldn't give up till the strain of shooting at us probably done him in. That about the way you figured, Mr. Bonner?
That sounds about right.
Well,
I wouldn't go in for a while. Jenny Garver's kind of shaken up by all this.
Oh, yeah, I plumb forgot. She was right there in the middle of everything.
Give her a little time to kind of get herself together.
Yeah, that's right. I keep forgetting how women folk are. A little bit of gunfire in the neighborhood, and they just go all to pieces. That just goes to show you. You get right down to it, they're all pretty much alike.
Yeah. Guess you're right, Sheriff.
Are you all right, Jenny?
I will be, Mr. York.
Sure you will, Jenny. All that shooting's bound to get on a woman's nerves.
This ain't no place for a young girl, Jenny, way out here.
That's right. You ought to move back where you'll have some neighbors.
Thank you, Mr. York. But I won't be going alone. Will you help me, Mr. Bonner?
I'll be glad to, Jenny.
I'm taking him back to town with me.
That horse. I said get off that horse. That's better. Now I'll just relieve you of all that folding money you're carrying. I said give me the money, mister.
I'd just finished 3 months' work at the Winslow spread. And though the pay was the best in the state, my heels were beginning to itch, so I was on my way to the Copper Springs Bank to get my check cashed and move on. Handsome-sized check, too. $67. Copper Springs was generally one of the quietest towns you ever saw. But today it looked and sounded like a kettle just before coming to a boil, shaking and humming all over. Couldn't help wondering what all the excitement was about.
Can you believe it, Mac? Sheriff Hempel capturing the Wyoming kid.
The sheriff didn't exactly capture him, Ollie.
Well, then who?
The way I understand it, the posse just sort of stumbled onto the kid.
After coming down the long trail from Fort Drexel, Scar could use a good feed and some water, while I took care of my business at the bank.
He was stretched flat in a grove of sycamore down by 10-Foot Creek. When they brought him by my house in the morning, he had a bullet in his shoulder, and he was still out cold.
Out cold? Bank isn't open yet.
Oh, I see.
Sheriff say who shot him and left him lying there?
That's what I'm trying to tell you. No one seems to know.
9 o'clock. All I can say is that he was in good health yesterday, and he rode out here with $2,500 of my money.
Cash a check.
Excuse me, please.
All right.
I'm sorry.
All right.
Good morning, Mr. Hawkins. I'm sorry I'm late, but excuse me, please. But Matilda had another one of her fainting spells last night, and I had to wait till Doc McIntyre got out there to look at her.
All right, Jonas, all right. Now get in your cage. Customer's waiting.
Yes, sir, but you know how Matilda is. Once she gets an idea in her head, there's just no arguing with her.
I'd like to cash my check.
The clerk isn't in his office yet.
So I see.
Jonas, you hear about them capturing Jet King?
Jet King?
The fellow who held us up yesterday, the Wyoming kid. His real name is Jet King. Sheriff says he found him down near 10-Foot Creek, all shut up.
Take a mighty big man to stand up to Jet King. And there's up to 10 graves that'll testify to that.
Look, I haven't got all day. If you'll just cash my check, I'll be on my way.
What's your name, mister?
Bonner, Vint Bonner.
You say Vint Bonner?
What's the matter, Mac?
Why, he's a six-shooter, Ollie.
What?
Ain't that right, Mr. Bonner?
I've been called that.
I guess we don't have to do any more wondering who shot the Wyoming kid.
Excuse me, sir, but I have to check my daily ledger.
If I had known you were around here, we wouldn't have had any doubts in the first place.
Well, there ain't no doubt about it, Ollie. Well, take a mighty fast man to outdraw the Wyoming kid. And the six-shooter here is about the fastest man west of the Mississippi.
Hold it. In the first place, I don't know any Wyoming kid. And as for outdrawing him, I never...
Sure, Mr. Bonner. Everybody knows how the six-shooter don't like to take credit for what he does. Well, you ain't going to get away with it here in Copper Springs.
Now, listen to me a minute. I told you I don't...
Wait till I tell the sheriff we know who shot the Wyoming kid.
Sheriff!
Now, about that check...
Where's he going?
We'll be most happy to oblige. Jonas!
Hey, you!
Will you cash the check for the
Bonner, come right in, sir. This is a real privilege to meet you. Mac was just in here telling me all about it. He just scooted through that door to spread the news all over town.
Look,
oh, not that I wouldn't have got that Jet King myself sooner or later, but you sure did speed up the operation. Yes, sir. Have a seat, son. Sit right down.
Sheriff, look, I want to talk to you about that.
Oh, now, don't you worry none about the reward. I'll see that you get every penny of it.
Reward? I don't want any reward.
Everybody says you're the generous type, all right.
I'm not that generous. Look, when Jet King comes to, ask him if I shot him.
Oh, Jet, he came to quite a while ago. Old Doc McIntyre's passed him up near as good as new.
Well, fine. Just ask him if I shot him.
Ask him? Well, what do you think I did as soon as Mac told me about it? Jet says you made a lucky draw. He's got to have an alibi.
You mean he says I shot him too?
You're the six-shooter, ain't you? Well, that's the feller he said done it all right.
I think I'd like to have a talk with Jet King.
Well, I reckon we can arrange that. Jet?
Huh?
This here the fellow who shot you?
We going over that again, Sheriff? I told you who'd done it.
Yeah, I know, but Mr. Bonner here, he kind of disagrees with you.
I sure do.
You do, huh?
You were ready enough to pull the trigger last night. Why are you trying to lie your way out of it now?
King, you know I didn't shoot you. Sheriff, I give you my word.
Now, Mr. Bonner, we all know how you feel about accepting honors, but this time you're not going to be able to get out of it. As a matter of fact, I believe there's a little doings planned for later on this afternoon. After the parade, that is.
Parade?
There won't be nothing much. Just a way for the folks here in Copper Springs to show their appreciation for what you've done.
Sheriff, I want to talk to Jet King. Alone.
All right, Mr. Bonner. I sure don't see what you hope to gain by it.
All right, King. What are you trying to pull?
I hear there's a pretty big reward out for me.
You know I'm not entitled to that reward.
As long as I keep saying you're the fella, you're the one's going to collect it. I'm doing you a favor. Of course, it's just between the two of us. Now that I see you real close up, it just might have been somebody else.
Must have been a real fast gun.
He wasn't. I mean, I'm fast, too. Plenty fast.
No matter how fast you are, there's always someone a little bit faster.
Not too many, Bonner. Maybe you, one or two others, but not too many.
Oh, sure. But, you could be getting a little old. Slowing down a bit.
Slowing down? I'm just as fast as I ever was. You think I'm going to let folks know that I was outdrawed by a little runt with gray hair? It just that when a grocery clerk, maybe he even wore a ready-made suit. It's stiff-collared, the high kind that chokes a man in the tie. Who would ever thought a runt like that would know how to use a gun?
Well, suppose we just tell that to the sheriff.
Oh, wait a minute. Tell the sheriff what?
What you just said.
I ain't telling that to nobody else. Nobody. I got no choice. It's one thing to be outshot by Vet Bonner, but that ain't so hard to swallow. But the idea of being outdrawn and outshot by a nobody. Why, I'll never be able to face my friends again. After I break out of jail, that is.
King, you're talking like a fool.
Yeah. Yes, sir, Mr. Bonner. It sure was a lucky break for me when the sheriff said you were in town. After all, I got my reputation to consider. Your reputation.
Sheriff! Everything all right, Mr. Bonner?
I'm getting out of here.
Just wasn't any use trying to convince people. They wanted a hero, and I was it, like it or not. Well, there's one thing I could do. I could clear out of town. And then I remembered I still hadn't cashed that check. What was it King had said? Something about a little gray-haired fella? Wearing one of those ready-made suits and the kind of stiff collar that chokes a man half to death?
Oh, yes, sir. Is there anything I can... Why, it's Mr. Bonner.
That's right.
Why, you certainly stir up a lot of talk, Mr. Bonner.
I seem to.
Mr. Hoffman just stepped out for a few minutes. Of course, if there's anything I can do for you.
You're all alone, huh?
Well, things are kind of quiet this time of day.
Wasn't that way when I was here this morning. As a matter of fact, in all the excitement, I forgot to cash my check. I thought maybe you'd do that for me.
Oh, well, oh, of course. Never any trouble with one of Mr. Winslow's checks.
You've been with the bank a long time, huh?
Yes, 23 years now, going on 24.
That's so.
65, 66, 67. There you are, Mr. Bonner. I think that'll do it.
That should do it.
Would there be anything else, Mr. Bonner?
Well, there is one other thing. I was just over to the jail. Had a long talk with Chet King.
You did?
And he told me all about the shooting last night.
Well, must have been very interesting. Well, excuse me, I have to get back to work.
And, he gave me a description of the man who shot him. You know what? That description fits you right down to that white collar you're wearing. Now, isn't that strange?
Oh, yes, it is strange. Very, very strange.
And what's more, you're just about the only man I've seen in town that the description does fit.
I'm afraid that I don't understand you, Mr. Bonner.
Well, I'll just go over and have a talk with the sheriff about it.
No, Mr. Bonner, Mr. Bonner. Mr. Bonner, please. What are you going to talk to the sheriff about?
Oh, I thought I'd talk to him about this. Now, suppose you tell me how you shot Jet King.
Well, I was late. I was late for dinner. I was out at the Widow Tolliver's on business, and I knew that Matilda would probably be a little worried if I didn't show up soon. So... But Widow Tolliver, I just can't drink anymore, T. I got to be getting home.
Ah, now, Jonas, I don't see why you're in such a powerful hurry.
But Tolliver, you know Matilda has supper on the table at 4:30 sharp. Here it is nightfall already. Well, she's just as likely as not to have another one of her fainting spells.
Fainting spells? Oh, now, what kind of a way is that to get a man to mind? Why, when my Clarence was late for supper, Lord rest his soul, I just lean over the table and clop him right in the chops.
Oh, well, good night. Good night, Widow Tolliver.
You got a gun on you?
Gun?
You mean you're taking my money to the bank without a gun on you to protect it?
Protect it? But I don't need a gun.
Now, you wait right here. I won't be but a minute.
But Widow Tolliver, I don't need anything. I'm just going to... I'll have you know I've been with the bank 24 years now, and I never lost a single solitary cent.
I wouldn't care if you was with the bank 100 years, Jonas Pilgrim. You just take this. Ooh. That's my money you're carrying.
Well, good night.
Good night, Jonas.
As far as you go, mister. Get off that horse.
What do you think you're doing?
I'll just take that horse you're riding. Get off.
Well, this is absolutely the most outrageous thing
I said get off that horse.
Yes.
That's better. But since you're carrying that bankroll, I'll take that too.
What?
I want that money, mister.
That's exactly the way it happened, Mr. Bonner. I didn't intend to. I didn't even know who he was. I wasn't here when he held up the bank.
Well, no telling what had happened if you had been.
It all happened so fast. I mean, the way this fella came at me out of the dark, grabbed my horse, pulled his gun. I don't know. I just shouldn't have done it. I don't know what got into me.
Now, don't tell me you're sorry you shot a man like Jet King.
Mr. Bonner, Well, fact is, I'm a married man.
What's that got to do with it?
Matilda, that's my wife. Well, Matilda's kind of particular about things. She's terrible particular about me, for instance. That's why I gotta wear this doggone collar.
Well, I'm sorry, Jonas. I still don't see...
But, Mr. Bonner, don't you see, if Matilda thought I even so much as touched a gun, why... I don't think she'd ever let me out of her sight again.
Well, it looks to me like you take care of yourself pretty good.
Well, as a matter of fact, I have had some experience with a gun. I don't know. I guess it was just some old instincts coming out in me. First thing I knew, there he was, lying there in the dirt.
You mean you used to be a gunfighter?
When I come out west, fella had to be able to shoot his way out of a spot or two if he wanted to stay alive. For instance, once when I was... Well, I guess it don't look much like it now, do I?
Well, Jonas, every man's bound to do a certain amount of aging.
Yeah? Sometimes I think I've done a little more than my share. Anyhow, now you know why I don't want folks to know about what happened last night.
Well, that's all very well, but, Jonas, I can't take credit for something that you did.
But, Mr. Bonner... Mr. Bonner, Jet King just broke out of jail.
Yeah, he must have had a friend or somebody help him.
Sheriff is getting a posse together. Wants you to join it.
Look here now.
Sheriff figures they are heading toward Bedwater Falls.
I'm sorry, I won't be able to oblige.
Well, why not? You already captured Jet King once.
Let's just say that once was enough. Which way is Badwater Falls?
South! Due south!
I'm going north. Due north.
Inside of 5 minutes, the whole male population of Copper Springs had galloped out of the other end of the town, headed south. I guess that made Jonas Pilgrim and me the only two men in town who hadn't run off with the posse. Not that I was especially glad that King had broken jail, but they were bound to catch up with the Wyoming kids sooner or later. From the looks of it, seemed like the man who ran the stable had run off with the others, but I'd already paid for Scar's keep, so...
Don't move. Now, you just keep holding on to that saddle, Mr. Bonner. Get to the door, keep your eyes peeled. One more move and I'll blow your head off. You're not going to get away with this, King. Nobody to stop me except you. That shoulder will slow you down some. Don't worry about me, Bonner. I'll make out. I'm taking your horse. There are other horses. Not as good as yours.
Some days it just doesn't pay to get out of bed. Between the bump on King's skull and the crease in his friends, I thought maybe I could get out of town before the hullabaloo started all over again, but I had to move fast.
Oh, Mr. Pilgrim.
What? Oh.
You through for the day at the bank?
Oh, yes, we close at 4 o'clock sharp. I'm on my way home now.
I wonder if you'd mind doing me a little favor. Put off your supper for a while. Till the posse gets back, that is.
Well, what for, Mr. Bonner?
Well, you see, the sheriff left with the posse, and there's no one watching the jail.
I don't see what difference it makes. Jet King was the only prisoner, and he's escaped.
Well, now, you never can tell, Mr. Pilgrim. Suppose someone was to break in. They could do a lot of damage. You can't tell what important papers the sheriff might have in his files over there.
Oh. Well, it seems to me the sheriff should have locked up before he left. Oh no, I'd never leave the bank like this, not if my life depended on it. Now, you know that, Mr. Bonner, don't you?
I certainly do. I certainly do, but the way I figure it, you're more conscious of your responsibilities than most people.
Well, if a man's got a job to do, it's his plain duty to perform it as well as he knows how.
Then you won't mind holding the fort till the sheriff shows up. You know, I just wouldn't feel right running off with no one mind in the jail.
Well, no, Mr. Bonner,
A civic-minded citizen just like yourself.
It seems to me you're worrying unnecessarily.
You'll never know how much I appreciate this. You just sit there a little while until somebody shows up.
Hope it won't be more than a little while. Matilda's
You better hold on to this, too. Never can tell when you might need it. Old gunfighter like you. And these. Now, just make yourself comfortable.
Oh, Mr. Bonner.
Yeah?
I hope you're not put out by my letting folks think it was you who shot Jet King last night.
I think that's taken care of.
You know, sometimes it's best for a man to take the responsibility for a thing, even if he didn't do it himself.
You know what? You've got a point. I'll be seeing you.
Sure was nice riding out of Copper Springs with $67 in my pocket. Though I would have given a good part of it to have seen the expression on the sheriff's face when he...
I hadn't seen this with my own eyes. I swear I wouldn't believe it.
Kind of tickled me that Jet King's reputation would never be the same. Though I admit I was a little worried about how Matilda would react to Jonas's newfound talent. But then wasn't it Jonas who said that sometimes it's best for a man to take the responsibility for a thing, even if he didn't do it?
$500. Match.
This'll cover it. And I'll redeem it at the bank, if you will.
Just made yourself a call, Mr. Jason. Beat it.
That ain't possible.
If you're looking for sympathy, you'll find it in the dictionary.
Not this hand, Marlowe.
What's this?
We say you cheated.
I never cheated at a card game in my life.
Mr. Jason's a respectable businessman in town. When a stranger calls him a liar, he'd better back it up.
I'm no liar, but I'm no gunman either. I don't even carry one of those things.
Then get out! Fast!
My diamond. That crook stole my diamond.
Afternoon.
Afternoon.
You look like a man with an appetite.
Well, I ate yesterday morning, I remember.
You're welcome to some beans.
Thank you.
Here you are.
Thank you.
Rough country to be traveling on foot.
I ran into a poor sport back in Jackson Bend. He didn't care about me cleaning him in a poker game, so he had his gun in and run me out of town.
Oh, that would be Cal Jason, that man of his, Goss.
Yeah.
You didn't have a chance from the start. Even if you cheated.
Good gambler doesn't have to cheat.
I figured you for a gambler.
One day it's chicken, the next day feathers. But if I had to go broke, at least it's within walking distance of Clover Fork. You wouldn't by any chance be acquainted in Clover Fork, would you, mister?
Some.
Maybe you could tell me where I could find my family. Clover Fork's where they moved to last time I heard. Name's Marlowe.
Marlowe? I know Ted.
I'll bet he's a real whopper by now. Well, he must be, let me see, 1 on 10. And Janet, that's my wife. I bet she's as pretty as she used to be.
Oh. The fact of the matter is, Mr. Marlowe, Mrs. Marlowe's dead. Pneumonia.
Janet's dead?
I don't relish being the one to tell you. Somebody should have notified you.
I suppose I tried. I haven't been an easy man to reach. I didn't give Janet much of a life. I tried to settle down. Some men just aren't meant to stay put. Maybe you wouldn't savvy that.
I savvy.
Who's taking care of the boy now?
Amy.
Janet's sister?
That's right.
How's she managing?
Your wife built up quite a little dressmaking trade. Amy took over. The boy helps out. Odd jobs after school. He's a nice boy. You'll be proud of him.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Well, I'm sorry I can't take you with me. But I don't think my horse could carry us both.
Oh, that's all right. Thanks for the food. I'm sorry, I didn't even ask your name.
Name's Bonner. Vint Bonner.
Bonner? Yeah, I've heard about you. I'm pleased to meet you, Mr. Bonner.
Oh. Good luck.
Oh, since you'll be in Clover Fork ahead of me, I wonder if you'd stop by and tell Amy and the boy that I'll be by to see them.
I'll do that.
Howdy.
You're a long way from Jackson Bend, aren't you, Goss?
Looking for a fella named Marlowe.
Marlowe, huh?
Yeah, fancy dressed, a thieving gambler. You seen anyone like that?
Yeah, I have.
Where?
That running mate of yours in Jackson Bend, Cal Jason. Put that thing away. We're both too old to be playing games on a pretty day like today. Now you move along. Nobody but a fool would be in this country on foot.
Vint, it just isn't fair for him to come here after 8 years.
He is the boy's father.
He was Janet's husband, too. But that didn't make any difference to him.
He still has a right to see Ted.
What'll it do to the boy? He thinks his father's dead.
I know.
When Janet was so sick, Ted wondered why his pa wasn't here to help her. What else could I tell him?
I don't know.
Mrs. Peters will be here most any minute for a dress fitting.
Mr. Bonner!
Ha ha! Whoa there, boy.
I seen your horse Scar outside.
Saw, Ted.
I knew you were here after I'd seen it. And here's the black thread you asked me to bring on the way from school. Oh, Mr. Bonner, I can do that gun trick you showed me real good now.
Good.
That should be Mrs. Peters.
Hello, Amy.
Rafe.
Aren't you going to ask me in? Or weren't you expecting me?
He was expecting you, all right, but not so soon.
Come in.
Sodbuster gave me a ride on his wagon. Oh, this is Ted. I'd know him anywhere. Come here, boy. Let me take a look at you. Yeah. Same eyes. Same color hair. I bet you don't know who I am, do you, Ted?
Ted, I want you to meet a friend of mine, Mr. George Parker. He knew your father.
Glad to know you, Mr. Parker.
Well, now, just a minute, Bonner.
Ted. Ted, it's time to go bring in the kindling.
I'll be right back.
Thank you, Vint.
What kind of joke you pulling, Bonner?
It's no joke, and it's better this way. You be Mr. Parker. To him, you're dead.
So that's it. Well, I'm coming back to life. Nobody's going to keep me away from my own son. Just how do you fit into this, mister?
Because I asked him to, that's how. Go away, Rafe. Leave us alone.
Amy, I know how you must feel, but...
You don't know how I feel. You couldn't. It wasn't pneumonia that killed Janet. It was you. She was in love with you, Rafe Marlowe. When you left that last time and didn't come back, that's what really killed her.
I couldn't help myself. It wasn't that I didn't love Janet.
Well, don't make Ted go through the same thing she did. Always wondering where you are, worrying about you. Please. Let him go on believing you're dead.
I think we better get one thing straight. Ted's my son, and he's got a right to know it. And I'm going to tell him.
That was quick, wasn't it, Aunt Amy? Tell me more about my father, sir.
Go on. Tell him about his father.
Were you with him when he fought those Indians?
Indians?
That's how he got killed, saving some settlers from the Apaches in Arizona. Aunt Amy says my father was just about the bravest man she ever seen, or saw. I'll bet you can tell me some other things he did, Mr. Barker.
Your dad was quite a man, Ted. There'll never be another one like him. But, by the way, you got my name wrong. It's not Barker, it's Parker.
I got myself a room at the hotel and settled down in the lobby with the paper. But my mind wasn't on it. The way everything was working out was so peaceful that it just seemed a little bit too peaceful.
Thanks, Bonner.
What for?
Oh, for making me think twice.
So you decided to go on playing dead, huh?
Sure. But I wrote myself a mighty heroic obituary.
What made you change your mind?
Oh, I don't know. Amy talked sense, and, well, I did sort of promise to stay over another day, though.
How come?
Tomorrow's Saturday, and the boy said he'd like to go hunting. I guess I owe him that much.
Seems reasonable.
Only if I stay over, I'm going to need me a little stake. Now, I'm not asking for a loan. Not without security, anyway. I'll need about $25.
This thing real?
Well, if it isn't, I don't think that gunslinger of Jason's would have bothered to try to find me yesterday.
He's over here today. Guess he wants this back.
I want it fair, but that's another reason I've got to be on my way. Oh, about the money, I'll have it back tomorrow.
How?
I checked a poker game in there. They know as much about cards as a blind Indian. Ted sure has his heart set on going hunting.
Well, like I said, it seems reasonable. And you keep this.
No. Business is business. I'd rather you keep it anyway in case I get reckless. But I have a feeling this is my lucky night.
So you're the flannel mouth who called me a thieving gambler.
Must have been pretty deep for you to come all this way and tell me about it.
Where's your friend Marlowe? He's got a $2,000 diamond of mine, and I intend to get it back.
Must be the fellow you were talking about.
I run into a kid who saw you sharing chuck with him.
Well, it's a good thing you didn't stop for dinner. I only had beans enough for two.
Where'd Marlowe go?
I couldn't tell you that.
You mean you won't? Maybe the night air will revive your memory.
Outside.
Where is he? Told you all I'm going to.
Keep your hands down.
Spill it, cowboy. Where's Marlowe?
You find out.
Where's Marlowe? Where's Marlowe? Where is he? Stop!
Let him go or you'll shoot. Go ahead, shoot. Now you do as I say or I'll break this man's neck. First, drop that gun.
Stop him! Stop him!
Now go get your horses. And don't stop till you get to Jackson Bend.
I'll be looking for you, cowboy.
I'll be around.
The money Marlowe had borrowed was waiting for me next morning, and I gathered he'd made a killing in the poker game. But Sunday things were still bothering me about Ted and his dad. I wondered if he had left town as he promised.
Mr. Banner! Mr. Banner!
Whoa, boy. Don't you ever walk anyplace?
I saw you right in, but I guess you didn't see me. I've been wanting to find you.
What can I do for you?
About Mr. Parker.
Don't tell me he's still in town.
Yes, but I think he's going to leave in a few days.
A few days?
He told me he never stays in one place very long.
Guess that's right.
Well, when he goes, I'm going with him.
What?
I ain't ever had so much fun in my whole life. Yesterday we went hunting. This morning I played hooky from Sunday school to go fishing with him. Only don't you tell Aunt Amy.
Now, wait a minute, Ted. I think we better talk this over a little more.
I'm sure Mr. Parker likes me, don't you think? And he says he doesn't have any family of his own. I bet he gets lonesome and would like having somebody with him.
Well, when you're traveling, that's different.
He's just got to take me along, or I'll run away and find him.
Hold it. Have you talked to Aunt Amy about this?
I want to be like Mr. Parker and go places and learn to be a gambler and play poker.
Now, learning to play poker ain't hard. It's learning to win that's the tough thing.
Oh, Mr. Parker never loses. I watched through the window of the hotel last night, and there ain't nobody that can beat him.
That's so.
He's just about the nicest man I ever met, and he's a friend of my pa's, too.
Does Mr. Parker know about this?
No, I'm scared to tell him. I'm scared he'll turn me down. Will you ask him for me, Mr. Bonner?
Don't you think you better talk to your Aunt Amy first?
I know what she would say, and it wouldn't make any difference. I've already decided.
All right, I'll tell Mr. Parker what you've decided. Meantime, you run along home. Tell your aunt I'll be over later.
Okay.
Settle down, get a job, make us a home. Then later on I could let him know I'm his old man.
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah. Oh, what's the use of trying to fool myself? I couldn't do it for his mother. I couldn't do it for Ted either. I'd be rolling on inside of 6 weeks.
He said he's going to follow you no matter what.
He'll go back to Amy soon enough.
You didn't.
Well, he's not me.
He's a lot like you. He thinks you're the greatest fellow that ever lived. Outside his pop, that is. You're his idol.
All right, I'll get out of town tonight.
Kid's got the longest memories. Even after you'd gone, he'd still want to be like you.
Well, he can't. I want my son to do better than a gambling tramp like me.
Nobody's got any use for broken glass. Same thing is true of broken idols.
If you're looking for sympathy, Finch, you'll find it in the dictionary.
I don't understand it. How you've won all night long.
You watch me work, my friend, you'll never go broke in a strange town.
Shut up and deal.
Ante up. $50. And 100 more.
Before the draw? You're bluffing. Call and give me 2.
You're a grave digger. Dealer takes 3.
$200.
2. And raise you 500.
All right, Parker. What have you got?
Looks to me like about 2 pair.
Well, that just don't happen to be the full house.
Might. Seeing as how it's 2 of the same pair. 4 jacks.
You keep your hands off those chips. You're not going to cheat me out of this pot.
You're talking wild, Finch.
All of you saw me. I threw in 2 discards. One of them was a jack, and there's only 4 jacks in the deck. He dealt himself my jack. That's how he's been winning. Cheating like a dirty rat. Well, you're through cheating, Mr. Parker.
Hold on.
Mr. Bonner!
Did the kid see it?
Yeah, he saw.
All right, you know what to do with this.
Get him to a doctor.
Where's Ted?
I haven't seen him.
There he is.
And I wanted to be like him. To go with them. A man who cheats at cards is more than a snake. I wish I never seen him. I don't think he's a friend of my pa's either. Pa wouldn't have nothing to do with a skunk like him.
Maybe your father didn't know him for what he is. Anyway, he gave Mr. Parker this to give to you. Your Aunt Amy will keep it for you. It's worth quite a lot of money. Your pop wanted you to have an education.
Thank you, Vince. For everything. Care to walk home with us?
I like that.